New Voodoo Live.
Well, welcome to an impromptu part 2 of our New Voodoo Live series about the purchase funnel. We just got some data back. And Roger, I'd say it stirred up quite a bit of feedback from clients when we aired the New Voodoo Live a few days ago, and you had a chance to send the video link out, particularly the issue of TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a new shiny object that people are interested in. It's obviously very effective and very popular. It's become part of the social conversation. So a lot of people are interested in what it means for their brand.
But you've had some brands that have given you some feedback where the people they work with maybe overly exuberant, who don't have access to the kind of real-time data that we generate real-time to keep ourselves from swallowing the Kool-Aid of social media platforms. We like to keep our clients on track, and that it's all about the data. So you had some requests from packaged goods, and I think it was retail, particularly and grocery stores, right?
Some e-commerce brands, some retail brands, consumer packaged goods. Yeah, absolutely. Biggest question has been TikTok. A lot of agencies are pushing that direction, but question is, should they go? And if so, why?
And my target audience is women. So we parsed out the data. And so this is still the same data set from our previous New Voodoo Live, which you can go on to YouTube or any of our social media platforms or newvoodoo.com/webinars to witness that part 1. Here at 1,215 women that we spoke to between the ages of 14 and 54. The reason for that demographic is because we serve media clients. They care about traditional media demos like 1834 and 2554 and so forth. So that means we obviously would cut off under 14 due to COPA laws, and above 55 because unfortunately boomers, and I'm right there with you. I'm right on the cusp between X and boomer. I like to consider myself an X, but I'm no longer a media desirable. So 54 is as high as we go with this. So that's our study. And again, there's 3 parts to the funnel. I'll just put this up again. We have the awareness section, which is basically run advertising to build trust, right, Roger? And then
trust. Yeah, just familiarity.
Yep. And with things like retargeting or using a database to create a custom audience or a tailored audience, you can start shaping deals that might be interested in sealing the deal, right? And that's what we call the consideration phase, where you're aware. You've maybe gotten into our email database, and now we're focusing on turning you into ultimately the Holy Grail, certainly in your line of work, because you're always trying to get our advertisers to sign on the dotted line.
That's right.
Purchase.
Yep.
So with brand awareness, which is our first data point, first thing you should be aware of is when we ask people if they paid attention to anything advertised, any of these walled garden platforms. And that's the focus here. It's walled garden only. So the Googles, the Twitters, the Instagram, the TikToks of the world. For the first time, TikTok is in this data set.
Yeah, and it jumps right off the page, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. So pay attention to, you can see there's a generational divide at about 35. We actually found that maybe it's even younger than that, probably around 28. But obviously it holds up pretty well when you're looking at media demos.
Well, and no surprise to us, YouTube's quite high on the list across all the demographics. One of the tools that we often recommend our clients use is called TrueView, which is basically a type of marketing where if it's a skippable ad, that if a viewer watches the entire ad or 30 seconds, whatever is less, that ad is free. So a free impression when you're talking about brand awareness is significant. That's
right. You only pay for actual views over 30 seconds or 100% through the spot if it's less than 30. Exactly. And of course, Instagram, Facebook, we ought to point out, is a meta duopoly. You can see that in terms of brand awareness, pretty efficient, right? Because you get Instagram, maybe not quite as competitive with TikTok under 35, maybe 20% less effective, 10 to 20% less effective. But when you pair it with Facebook, if you're looking to reach 25, 54 women or 18 to 49 women, I'd say that that duopoly pair is probably a pretty good one for generating top of mind awareness and fostering unaided recall.
No question.
So let's move to the consideration stage. And by consideration, we mean that you've taken action of some type. So whether that's simply you've liked or shared on social media, maybe you've read a review somewhere and done more research about the product that interests you that you saw advertised on one of these walled gardens, and are in fact, so here's the real, I think, important cutoff. You haven't gone through the consideration phase and then given up. You are still considering here. So this is, I think, a very powerful representation of consideration. So you've seen the ad on the platform and you've taken some sort of action.
Yeah, same basic generational splits here. So if you are a marketer that's interested in reaching those younger demographics, certainly TikTok might be a good play for you. But we still see that Facebook and some of these other platforms are certainly more viable for the older generations, Facebook and Instagram.
You really start to see the lines of demarcation here very clearly. Under 35, TikTok is a powerful conversion engine. And let's face it, even if you're a brand that's focused above the age of 35, these are your future buyers. And their purchase habits are being ingrained now as we speak. And as their spending power improves and perhaps their tastes change and mature into products that more traditionally cater to the 35 plus demo, it's not like it can't be on TikTok, but we'd argue against allocating dramatically away from the platforms that bring you to the dance if you are a 35 plus advertiser.
Well, especially moving to the next slide, I think that becomes very relevant.
Yep. So this is what we call the money shot here. And this is now somebody that has seen an ad, paid attention to it, not only is still considering, but actually made the commitment. They pulled the trigger on a purchase. So this is a good way of measuring what I'll call ad spend efficacy. This would predict certainly not the absolute return on ad spend, but I think you could argue relative return on ad spend, depending upon what the product is, would probably look something like this in terms of the rank.
Yeah, not to just reiterate your previous point, but if you look at Facebook and some of the numbers in the older demographics, you don't want to divest from things that are working, right? And this is clear that the 35 plus, the older side of this demographic, these women are still using that platform. So as much as it might be, questionable in terms of why you want to be there or who's still there, don't fix what's not broken. Always makes sense to experiment a little bit, but let's just be cautious and aware of what's working when it is.
And I remember 6 months ago when we did the social media use, which is a different study than what you're seeing here, and we saw TikTok really break through. I think all of us grew a little flop sweat because we had not yet considered TikTok in terms of its viability as a sales engine. I think that this confirms what our gut was telling us, that TikTok would be huge with teens and 20-somethings. And certainly that was confirmed with this data.
Absolutely. Another thing to note is the content on these platforms. We mentioned video content for YouTube, but if you're a brand that's highly visual and you have a lot of benefit in showing the product, colorful, bright, exciting, Instagram, Facebook, very viable to deliver your ads.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because we did this study on June 28th, 29th, and I think it was 4 days later that Facebook came up, or excuse me, Instagram released Threads, which is a text-based version of Instagram. And lo and behold, 100 million users worldwide in the first 5 days. So we actually had to go back and put the study into the field to rank social media platform use. Now, we didn't worry about it in terms of advertising because Threads does not yet accept advertising, but we're in the process of adding that data to what we've already captured. So we are going to get to social media use, the weekly, daily, and what I like to call the compulsive use 4 times a day or more. And that's all coming up. But Roger, if you've got clients that you have a relationship with or prospects and you don't want to wait, you're going to start to get access to this data as we crunch it. And so you are setting up appointments now for anyone who'd like to dive a little deeper. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how it fares against Twitter and what all that means.
And if you're a radio station and you're saying, hey, where is that ratings prospect data you apologized or that we promised? Well, we apologize. We thought it was more important to get this data in front of folks first. And now we're going to go back and take a look at people who use radio and people who are likely to participate in the ratings. And we'll recrunch everything and start parsing that out within the next week or two. So stay close. And thanks for watching New Voodoo Live.
New Voodoo builds digital products and conducts research and marketing campaigns for clients.
It's easy to get in touch. Drop us a line at tellmemore@newvoodoo.com.